Alright guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you what sold in our antique booths for the month of March. So as you guys know, Eric and I have two antique booths. They are both in the same mall, Yesteryear Antique Mall in Hanover, Pennsylvania. So this is all going to be for the month of March, and if this is the first time you ever watched one of these videos, I just go down the list of what sold, I pop up a picture of what it was, and I let you know what the price was that I had on the tag. That doesn't include our 10% off that we do all the time and everything like that. It's just what I put my price on the tags. So I think I have most pictures. Obviously, like when I go in to put stuff into the booth, I make sure that I get pictures. When I'm not always with Eric, sometimes he goes in on days when he goes to the grocery store. I know, I am so spoiled. I don't have to go to the grocery store. Eric does the grocery shopping. I do have to make the list though. But then when I stay home, I'm usually doing stuff like this, where I am like recording and editing, or I'm listing, you know, I'm doing something. But anyway, so sometimes when he goes in, he forgets to take a picture, so I am missing a couple pictures. He's like, just blame me, it's my fault anyway. I was like, Eric, it's okay. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So we're just gonna start with the very first thing, and that was a butterfly terrarium. So I think this picture is not the best. Sometimes they're not the best pictures, and sometimes they're just very good pictures. Anyway, sold this for $15. These definitely sell. Some go like right away, and then some, you know, this one did sit for a little while, but I think we might be out of them because we had quite a few. Next item was a little trinket dish that said rings and things on the front. So basically just to like throw your rings and stuff in before you know, would wash the dishes and stuff like that. That sold for $8. Then this next item was a basket that had kind of this spray of gold colored and like pearl looking, it was like a spray of stuff. This came in a box lot of stuff that we won at an auction. Oh my gosh, Eric is just blowing up my phone right now. Hold on, my goodness. Okay, we were looking at some jewelry at the auction. He has to work tonight, and there was a brooch, and I swear when I did like a Google lens on it, it was coming up that it had deer teeth in the brooch. It was just really weird, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I want it. Just because that's just insanely weird, and I love weird stuff. But he says that he thinks they're fake and they look like plastic, and it's also not sterling, so I'm just gonna put it's okay. Alright, sorry about that. Completely off topic. So anyway, this basket came with some stuff we won at an auction. Didn't really intend to buy it, just came with stuff. Anyway, put it in the booth for $10. And it sold. Then we also sold a wooden giraffe kind of pull toy. I actually just picked up a little small cat one you saw in my last church yard sale video, because I was saying, like, when I put these pull toys in the booth, they do sell. So I sold this giraffe one for $29. I mean, it's obviously larger than what the cat was, but still, like, that's good, I think so. Of course it's good. Anyway, sorry guys, I am like not with it today at all. Alright, the next item was a ceramic. This was shaped like a baked potato. Oh my goodness, Eric. He knows I'm recording. Okay, now he's sending me something that he needs. What is it? A quick snap socket. It's a picture of a quick snap socket. I don't know. Oh, it's a socket for a lamp. We have a lamp that needs, I guess, a socket. Oh my god, I'm never gonna get through this video. It was just a friendly friendly reminder text. Eric, I'm recording. We'll see if he listens. All right, so it was this ceramic baked potato, but it was actually like a sour cream container to put sour cream. I mean, you could put other condiments in there if you wanted to, for sure. But it was by Lefton and it sold for $15. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I feel like I should edit this out because some people are probably going to be so like, oh my gosh, this girl is just, I can't with her, and like, you know, back out. But I'm sorry. I think I'm going to just keep this in because it's hilarious. Okay, next was this brass, really large fireplace peacock. So that sold for a whopping $150. We actually picked that up at a yard sale over the last summer. Sold a Longaberger, what they called a buddy basket, that sold for $24. We are quickly finding out that Longaberger baskets do sell in the booth. So we have been picking them up, you know, as we can, when we can get them at like a decent price. Then this next item was a Valentine card that sold for $3. So I don't think I have a picture of it per se, just because, you know, I don't take individual pictures of every single like card that I have in the booth, but you get the idea. It was a vintage Valentine card. Next item was just this little mini bunny on a nest. I picked this up at a sale. You guys saw me pick it up. I think I paid $1 for it and I sold it for $8. We also, I think we do still have just a couple of Christmas things in the booth that haven't come out, but one did end up selling, and that was one of our Fenton Santa fairy lamps. It was a red one that sold. We also have a white milk glass one still in the booth, but that sold for $79. Then we sold a Glass Eye Studio Moon paperweight. This thing was really awesome. We actually, Eric found this at a yard sale of all places, and I'm pretty sure he only paid like $5 for it, which is insane. Ended up selling for $99. We also sold a garden flag. This one said, "Welcome, don't expect much." That sold for $10. Here's another paperweight. This one was a yellow Murano glass paperweight that sold for $22. I sold just a little purple glass figural rabbit for $12. This next item was also another glass paperweight that had a flower inside of it. The picture you see is like a bunch of paperweights with flowers because I wasn't quite sure which one it was that sold. But it says small flower paperweight. So it was one of the smaller ones that sold for $15. Then we also sold an Ellie Smith Moon and Stars Amberina glass compote for $22. A really tiny like mini crock jug that sold for $4. A Booze Hound decanter. It was shaped like a dog. It was called a Booze Hound. That sold for $10. The next item was a package of new old stock little rabbit kind of like sewing iron-ons. They were embroidered. They were in the basket that you see a picture of tucked in there. Those sold for $5. I'm sorry. Sold a 5-piece Russian nesting doll set for $19. Then this next item is a horrible picture. It was a glass paperweight by Dynasty. It was kind of shaped like a cat, but also kind of like a teapot. That sold for $30. I remember in my last What Sold in the Booth, I think I had this picture up, but it was a different paperweight, so I got a little confused there. This next item I don't have a picture of, which really sucks because it was cool and I wanted to show you guys. It was this real pretty beaded fish. Eric picked it up at the sale where I found the little glass bunny on the nest. Anyway, the beaded fish sold for $19. And I think he paid maybe $3 or $4 for it. Then we also sold a set of Tilso Japan horse bookends for $22. Those were ceramic. Next item was an amber glass turtle lamp that sold for $40. We like picking up figural kind of lamps when we see them at a good price. Sold another Longaberger recipe basket. These sell like hotcakes in our booth as well as on eBay. That sold for $29. Then we also sold just a little small glass by Anchor Hocking piggy bank for $5. I sold a Mary Mushroom spoon rest. This is actually like a Mary Mushroom item that is a harder to find Mary Mushroom piece. That sold for $49. Sold 2 different garden flags. The first one had some peeps on it, some Easter peeps that said "for peeps' sake." That sold for $10. And then we also sold one that said, I think it said something along the lines of "cat lovers and weirdos are welcome" or something like that. I can't remember, but there should be a picture of it. That sold for $10. We sold a Longaberger patriotic, I should say, basket that sold for $19. I didn't realize there were 2 more things on here, so I'm gonna have to get pictures of them. We sold a this rusty fish wind chime. This also came from the same place. It was the spring room. You saw that in a video where it's the same room we picked up the bunny and the beaded fish, but this was like a rusty fish wind chime. Anyway, that sold for $12. And then we sold a set of brass lovebirds for $19. I didn't even realize they were on this paper. Okay, and then we also sold another garden flag. This one had a gnome on it that said "get off my lawn." That sold $10. Sold an Enesco white milk glass oil lamp for $14. It was like a small one. Then we sold this was by Wheaton Glass. It was a purple glass egg-shaped paperweight that sold for $25. There was actually 2 more garden flags, the peep ones. The one, I think I said "welcome peeps," or maybe it was 2 welcome peeps that sold, or maybe one was welcome and the other one was for peep's sake. Anyway, 2 flags at $10 a piece. Then we sold a Viking glass vase for $50. A Fenton Amberina vase for $54. Just a tiny little ceramic skunk. It was so stinking cute. I put on the tag "Happy Skunk" and he sold for $5. Sold another Longaberger basket. This one was a long one. It was called a Harvest Blessings basket that sold for $29. I sold a Polish pottery cereal bowl. You saw me pick these up at a yard sale, church sale. This one sold for $19. I still have one more in the booth. Then this next item was like a wall hanging. It was a wood angel. Someone painted it, so it was signed. Someone named Susan Beeman. That sold for $25. We sold a set of vintage TV trays with the stand. It was a set of them. Won those at an auction for not much at all, and they sold for $89. They sell well online as well, like on eBay, but we didn't want to ship those. Then we also sold a Westmoreland. This was a real large diamond point lidded compote. That sold for $69. I picked that up at a yard sale over the summer. I think I paid $10 for it. We sold a flag, which I can't for the life of me find. It had a frog on it and it said "come as you are." That sold for $10. Then we also sold a Glass Eye Studio iridescent vase for $49. We sold a Murano heart-shaped paperweight, also for $49. Then we sold a Gibson what they called snake skin glass marble. That sold for $69. I think those all sold to the same person, so they bought some really good, nice glass pieces. Then we sold a pretty large enamel bowl that had calla lilies on it that sold $25. I actually have another one of those, so I'll probably put that one in the booth as well at some point. Then we also sold another butterfly terrarium. This one sold $15. Next item, again, don't have a picture. It was a little turtle. I think it was enamel. Don't quote me on that. Trinket box, but it had like a little candle inside, so you could use it as a candle holder or a trinket box. That sold for $14. I think it was made by the Bombay company, which they make some really nice stuff. I sold this funny like turtle-shaped footstool. Found this over in our storage unit. You guys know I've been going through our storage unit, going through totes and stuff, and like finding some things I didn't even know we had over there. So that just was a surprise find out of the storage unit. It sold for $15. I also sold, this was also from a tote I found in the storage unit, a mushroom teapot that sold $12. It was ceramic. I sold a cobalt blue glass bottle. It was had on the lid Echo, ECCO. I can't remember for the life of me now what it would have originally contained, but that sold $9. I sold a Snow White, I think this was by Enesco, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs Sneezy figure for $5. A Temptations round handled dish that sold for $15. This next item was kind of a recent thing we put in. It was a Lefton Bluebird sugar bowl, won that at an auction. That sold $69. The next 4 items were just old photographs that were in like a basket that I have some of like my because I still have Valentine cards in there I need to take out, but like just like cards and things, but I had some like old photographs in there. So this person bought 4 different photographs at $3 a piece. Then sold a little glass swan shaped trinket dish for $12. A little Pyrex red refrigerator dish for $12. And then the last thing for what sold in the booth for March was, and I don't have a picture of it, it was this little kaleidoscope. They call it a dragonfly kaleidoscope. It was just like yay big, and then obviously like when you looked through like the eyepiece, it made like all the fun little colorful swirls and stuff like that. Super cute. That sold $12, but it, you know, was vintage. So that's everything for what sold in the antique booth for the month of March. I feel like it was a decent month. So quite a number of things. Some of them were some larger sales. But overall not too bad, I don't think. So we shall see how April goes. Today is, what is today? Today's April 2nd. I don't think we had a sale at all yesterday, so crossing fingers we have a sale in the booth today. So yeah, we'll see how April goes. I do feel like just with not just booth, but like also with eBay and stuff like that, I do feel like sales are kind of down like everywhere, like on all platforms really. You know, people I think are just trying to save some money right now. You know, obviously some people are waiting for like, you know, tax returns to come in and things like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm not really stressing about it too much, trying not to stress. I will be doing a what sold on eBay cha-ching video here soon. So I'll, you know, talk about that a little more in depth in my eBay video, as far as like how eBay sales have been pretty dismal here recently. So, but I'm just always thankful for any sale I get, whether that's in the booth, on eBay, whatnot, wherever. You know, as long as something is selling, then, you know, I'm happy about it. So, I'm trying to think. Today is Wednesday. I'm recording this and I will be editing it and posting it today. So this weekend, the weather has been like super nice, and now it's back to be not so great. I think it went rain this weekend. I really don't know. I'm gonna check later to see if there are any kind of yard sales sprouting up yet. There was one I went to the other day after we were at this was last week, at the church sale. There was a random one. It was like a moving sale, but I have been to their yard sale before, like numerous times throughout the years. I didn't find anything there though. So they are sprouting up here and there. So I'm just going to have to take a look later on and see if there's anything I can go to this week. But, so, you know, the sales will, as the weather starts to actually get warmer, should be sprouting up. So I'll have more shopping type videos. Every now and then, like, Eric and I will pop into Goodwill just to take a look, but there's typically like hasn't been anything there, and I take my camera, but if I'm not really finding anything and I don't buy something, I don't even turn my camera on, because if it's boring me, I don't want to put you guys through it either if I'm not finding anything. And oh my gosh, speaking of which, you saw in my last video where my the church sale video, at the end I did a haul and I showed that we had stopped at Goodwill and I picked up that Bumble Ball thing at Goodwill. Like, that was the only thing I had bought. The mother effer didn't work. That's the, oh, Goodwill, man. Like, sometimes I just want to scream at them. Like, I understand that, you know, it's my fault, I guess, for not carrying a screwdriver and some batteries on me all the time, but it's just, you know, they put trash on their shelves, as in like broken stuff, like completely broken or missing parts, missing pieces, and then you have things like this where, I mean, obviously I'm buying it untested, I'm taking that risk, but seriously, it's so upsetting when you get home and you realize you wasted $4 on something. It's like throwing $4 in the trash because you can't return it. So yeah, it sucks. So yeah, it didn't end up working. It made noise, but it didn't like vibrate anymore. So I threw it in the trash where it should have gone before someone even like donated it, you know? So that's where it kind of starts. Like, people like donate their trash, and then Goodwill, like, they get it and then they just put it on the shelf too. And guys, sometimes, you know, I just have a problem with Goodwill. So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sorry I'm leaving it on like kind of like a yeah note, but you know, it happens, and I'm sure it's happened to everyone where you bought something, especially electronical. That's why I don't really like reselling electronics. I don't really like getting into it because 9 times out of 10 stuff doesn't work. So let me know down in the comments if that has ever happened to you, or if you just kind of steer clear of that stuff now, because it's just not worth the gamble when you're, you know, having to just throw your money away. But anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what you thought down in the comments, and I will see you next time.